On China putting a marker in the global race for advantage in artificial intelligence, releasing a new model of startup DeepSeek, just as Washington accuses foreign companies singling out China of industrial-scale theft of AI capacities. The White House Science and Technology Chief Michael Kratsios charging tech companies with running distillation campaigns. All these use output from larger models to create and train cheaper and smaller versions. Mr. Kratsios pledging action to, quote, protect American innovation against tens of thousands of proxies and jail-breaking techniques. Back in February, US AI developers Anthropic and OpenAI separately accused Chinese firms of free-riding on their capabilities. Both accusations made specific mention of Chinese company DeepSeek. And our correspondents tracking developments for us. There's Toni Guan, CNA senior correspondent, joining us live from Shanghai, and Toni Waterman in Washington, D.C. And let's start with you, Guan. China reacting as we would expect to these accusations from Washington.
That's right. China's response has been a flat rejection. This was expressed at the regular foreign ministry briefing in Beijing. Let's take a listen.
美方有关说法毫无根据，是对中国人工智能产业发展成就的污蔑抹黑，中方对此坚决反对。我们敦促美方尊重事实，摒弃偏见，停止对华科技扼压，多做有利于两国科技交流与合作的事。
Now, aside from those remarks, the Chinese embassy in Washington also chimed in. Besides voicing its opposition to baseless allegations, it also added that Beijing attaches great importance to the protection of intellectual property rights. Meanwhile, in reporting this latest war of words, the state-run Global Times quoted an expert rebuttal on the accusation of distillation to offset computing constraints. The analyst noted that while the US may have the upper hand in AI chips, China leads in energy supply and computing infrastructure. In particular, he highlighted China's large-scale clean energy and server projects in its western regions, its so-called West-to-East Power Transmission Program, and its East Data West Computing Initiative. Now, for those unfamiliar, these are projects to tap on abundant solar and wind energy in those regions, which in turn makes them good locations to host servers because it reduces the energy costs of computing. So in a nutshell, the argument is that even if China's chips may be inferior, they require more energy to run and generate more heat in the servers. China has ample, cheap and clean solutions for that. Now, Global Times also highlighted the case of Composer 2 launched by US firm Cursor last month. You might recall Cursor recently acknowledged that its Composer product was built on top of Moonshot AI's open source Kimi model, which shows that US firms can also build on Chinese AI foundations when licensing allows it.
All right, Toni, we're hearing you, Guan, that China making the most of its advantages in this AI race. Washington, this problem with distillation, that's been apparent for a good while now. What's Washington going to do now to step up enforcement measures?
Well, much of what Washington is planning to do, at least in the immediate term, falls into the category of collaboration. In this memo, U.S. officials said that they're going to work with American AI companies to identify any theft that's taking place, to build these defenses, to stop it or prevent it from happening, and to also find ways to punish these offenders. No specifics, though, on what exactly they may look like. We know, though, that President Trump is quite fond of tariffs, so potentially that could be part of any sort of punishment plan. The administration could also do things like restrict the sale of the AI chips that power this type of technology. We have seen the administration, at least in the Biden administration, do this on national security grounds with NVIDIA chips. But this memo comes just days after the House Foreign Affairs Committee supported a bill to set up a process to go after these foreign actors. The government at this point hasn't named names. There's no specific companies that it's calling out. But as you mentioned earlier this year, you had OpenAI and Anthropic accusing Chinese companies like DeepSeek, Moonshot, Minimax of stealing data through that distillation model. But It really goes both ways. So, of course, just last month, you had the San Francisco startup AnySphere admitting that its coding model is built on Moonshot's open source AI technology. But this is really about the race for AI dominance. Many experts say that whoever dominates, whichever company or countries dominate in AI, they are the ones that are going to dominate the global economy and also dominate militarily. So these accusations are certainly going to add to this strain to President Trump's upcoming trip to China. He's going to be meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping next month. And this is on top of already existing tensions, including what is happening now in Iran.
Thanks to CNA's Toni Waterman live from Washington, D.C. and Toni Guan in Shanghai.